Today I'm going to turn this simple and functional ceiling lamp into a ceiling fan. Start with a quick unboxing. Instructions. Fan blades. Hardware. Second layer. Remote and hardware. A top mount. That's what's going to be taking the weight and attaching to the ceiling and handles all the electrical connections. A delicate glass lampshade. A bulb holder and associated wiring. A decorative cap. A dangly pole with wires. The big heavy bit with wires and spinny bits. All the cables up the top there. A switch for switching it to forwards or reverse. And the spinny bit. And wires out the bottom for the light bulbs. Now let's turn out the lights. Well, I left this turned on, so I assume that's now off and safe. I'm going to start by removing the old lampshade and the old dangly light unit. Just a couple of screws holding it in at the top. I'm going to make note of the orientation of the wires because the new ones are going in the same orientation. I'm just going to finish undoing the wiring on the old hardware. I've made a note of which wires went into which connector because they're going to be going into the same connectors on the new hardware. And it worked beforehand, so keeping it all the same should mean it still works. I've made sure that I'm not mounting the bracket into the plasterboard. It is actually securely fastened to the ceiling. Now I'm going to wire these up. Again, I made note of which wires were connected to which terminals and just going to wire them up in the same fashion they were beforehand. Right, now these three were all wired in together. That's going to be quite a tight fit to try and get all three in the same connector, but I'm going to give it a go. Now I'm going to wire up the earth. I believe it's still called that. Put those three into this one. And that one into there. And that's connected to this screw up here. I'll be using that later. Now I'm going to fit the remote control hardware. Not quite sure why it's this large, but sure. I'm sure there's probably more to it than just a remote. Oh, that actually went in surprisingly well. That's actually not putting up too much of a fight. I was suspecting a bit more of a fight with that. There's not a lot of space. Now I've assembled the fan section. I'm going to hang that up here. It's a little locator pin on one side. Thread the wires through. Get the earth cable wired up. Going to attach that, clamp it down under this screw. I need to mount the remote hardware. I can't actually fit it from this side, so I'm going to have to unscrew the wires and try fitting it from the other side. At this point I'm going to have to admit defeat, and I'm going to have to undo all the wiring to fit the actual fit the remote module, and I'm going to have to rewire it once I've got it all in situ. Okay, now I've got the remote hardware in place, I can rewire all the wiring again. Okay, with the wiring in place, I can now connect these 3 cables, connecting the remote hardware to the rest of the fan unit. Just need to manipulate everything in place so it fits under the cover. Nearly there. Screw the bulbs in. On with a frosted glass shade. Let's turn the power back on at the fuse box. Let's try the light. Okay, that works. And try the low setting. Alright. I can turn the light off. Let's leave it on for now. I'm going to go for medium speed. I'm going to go for high speed. It even looks well balanced, no wobbling. I can really feel the breeze coming off that. That's brilliant. Let's turn that back down. Awesome. And there you go. Well, thank you very much for tagging along, guys. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this one. This is going to be a great one for the summer. Hopefully it helped you or inspired you to do this yourself. And as always, thank you for watching.